Well, I love the show.
Thank you.
I've been a fan of many of your shows for, I don't know, the best part of 10 years now. Today I had a question for you regarding the iPad Pro, and in particular, the accessory, the smart keyboard. And I mean, I love the combination. I use it for just about everything nowadays, but there are some shortcomings. In particular, the lack of keys for certain functions like media playback, screen brightness, volume control. And I was wondering if you and Jason thought that this was additional functionality that could be added in the form of keyboard shortcuts. Because nowadays, when you press the command key on the keyboard shortcut, a list of shortcuts that are available will come up on screen. And if this is possible to be added in an additional or future update to the OS, I was wondering if you thought that this could be done totally at the level of the OS, or if it was something that individual developers also have to include into the code for their individual apps. And the reason I ask that is because nowadays, when you press the command key, the list of shortcuts that comes up is different depending on in which app you are. And you know, the additional functionality that I talked about earlier, it would be great if you could access that. You know, doesn't really matter which app you're working on. Might be a Word document or something.
And I carry this one because it's so light. And I bought the Logitech Creative when I first got my iPad Pro because it had a lot of those function keys.
It does.
But I decided this was so much lighter. That thing is so big and heavy.
Yeah, it sort of turns your iPad into a laptop.
Yeah. So is this what you use?
I don't.
What do you use for a keyboard?
So I use one of these that we've got here.
Holy cow. One of which is the regular Apple keyboard.
Yeah, so the short version, I would say, is if you're somebody who really carries your iPad Pro around a lot and you want to have instant access to that keyboard, the smart keyboard is kind of the only game in town. It's possible that Apple will add something like a function key keyboard shortcut. I think it's going to have to be system-wide.
It must be available, though, right? Because Logitech can do that. So it can brighten the screen. It can turn the volume up and down.
The issue here is the smart keyboard doesn't have the extra row of function keys.
It's merely the keys. It's not the connector.
And that's the truth about this is that there are already system-wide keyboard shortcuts for everything you said, for brightness and volume and media control. Unfortunately, they're the F keys. And there are no F keys on this Apple keyboard. And so what do? It's possible they'll make it so that there's a keyboard shortcut. I wouldn't bet on it. So I hate to do this, but I think you should seriously consider if you might be better off with a Bluetooth keyboard
with F keys
and something like this or some other kind of stand.
That's the standard
this
smart
is just
cover
the standard
minus
smart cover.
The keyboard.
Yeah, because all of these Bluetooth keyboards I have here have the extra row. This is the Logitech Easy Switch. This is the Magic Keyboard from Apple. This is my old Apple keyboard, which still works just fine with the iPad because these are all Bluetooth keyboards.
And even when these like media playback controls that are designed for the Mac, that works on iOS as well?
They all work on iOS.
And volume up and down.
So only if you're comfortable carrying a keyboard around with you,
I get your point, though, Dan. This feature is built in. Why don't you expose that in function in the command keys?
So on the Magic Keyboard, there is this little globe button, which is supposed to, I think it brings up the emoji, switches the international keyboards. Maybe they could do a change, and Apple's still figuring this stuff out. Maybe they could do a change where if you hold that down and press one of the number keys, it turns them into F keys. That could be a function key, yeah. That seems to be, because on all of these other keyboards, that key is the function key. It is the function toggle. So I'd say there's a little bit of hope that maybe they're going to add that functionality down the road, but it's a question because it's on, if you want that today, I think the answer is consider a Bluetooth keyboard. The Logitech one is very light. The Apple Magic Keyboard is extremely light. The only catch is you can't carry it on the front of your iPad. You have to pull it out of a bag, which is what I do.
You've glued something on the back of this so that it will...
Well, this is a prototype of a product that isn't out yet, but it's just got a little stickum on it, and so I've got it.
So you
I've
could
got
take
it
the
in this
Wedge
little case.
keyboard, the newest Apple Magic Keyboard, and glue it to
Yeah.
what basically turns it into something kind of like the smart keyboard.
Right, or you can just plop it down in front and use the smart keyboard.
But
this is my old origami case that I'm using.
Oh, yeah.
That still actually works with the iPad Pro. They don't sell this anymore, and they don't sell this keyboard anymore, but old keyboards will work with the iPad Pro too. So I hate to have this be the answer that maybe you shouldn't use the smart keyboard, but if those shortcuts are really important to you, I think that it's worth considering how you use your iPad and if you might be better off with a Bluetooth keyboard instead.
So to answer, Dan, your question specifically, it is already built in. It's part of iOS. It's merely whether the keyboard manufacturer, in this case Apple, wants to expose it.
And they didn't.
Who controls what pops up when I ask for the function key helper?
The app developer controls what pops up.
So that's why Dom
when you
noticed
hold down
that
the
it's
command
different,
key. Yes.
depending on which app you're running.
Yeah, and there are a few that are reserved for the system, like Command Tab will take you through the switcher.
So Springboard, the front interface to the icons on iOS, could, in theory, add those keys in the smart pop-up if they could figure out what to do with it.
They could do something if they wanted to. Yeah,
It's up to Apple, in other words.
Yeah, but it's not there right now, which I think it's a really weird omission, and it's one of the things that makes me not like the smart keyboard as much, is that it's missing that whole row. And I use those all the time to adjust brightness and volume and play and pause my music. Yeah.
So this is the only thing I love Apple, and I love Apple products, but you really, when you sign up for Apple, you agree to do it Apple's way.
Well, the beauty of this is there are plenty of other keyboards out there that you can use.
And they even did build it in.
They did.
But you buy the Apple product, and it's not like you can hack it. It's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no software you can install to add a global system shortcut. And app developers won't add it because it's already there. It's just not supported on this one keyboard.
It would be confusing if you had a function key keyboard. It'd be confusing. So at least, we got a solution for you, which is different keyboard. Is that better than nothing?
Oh, yes, certainly. Well, actually, I do have the smart cover and an Apple wireless keyboard, which I used initially. But after I bought the smart keyboard, it was just so much more convenient to carry around.
Yeah.
So
I agree. That's why I use it. I love it. But I don't I don't do a lot with it. I just it's mostly password entry, things like that. And it's fine for that.
I think it's a good feature request for Apple to say surely there is some command combination that would let us map those number keys at the top of that keyboard to the F keys.
Have you seen anything in the betas of iOS 9.3 that indicate maybe they might do that? Or?
I haven't. In 9.3, they've been struggling with getting it to work better because in 9.2, the smart keyboard sort of was erratic.
Oh.
And in 9.3, it works a lot better. In fact, we also discovered there was recently a software update for the smart keyboard. When you attach it to the iPad Pro, the iPad Pro updates the firmeither of the smart keyboard.
Who knew?
Who knew? So it's possible. It's totally possible. But unfortunately, right now, it's sort of an either-or. You either choose the Bluetooth keyboard or you kind of forego those controls.
This is the strength of Apple, is that they decide for you what's best.
And if you don't get along with that, then it's the weakness of it. Yeah.
Thanks, Tom. It's great to know you're listening and watching in Bangkok. That's fabulous.
Thank you, Leo. Thank you, Jason.
Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, man.
I wish I had a magic solution for him there.
Well, I think that's a good solution. And the fact is, these are really nice, light keyboards. I love it that you actually could put a case on.
Yeah, it's coming soon. From
Is that going to be a Kickstarter?
Unknown. I think it's going to be a real product. It's just they're still working out the bugs, so I don't want to talk about it. But I love the origami so much that I want a replacement for that.
They call it that because this becomes a stand. You just fold it in
you fold it and then plop your iPad in there. But this one, also we don't realize it. This Magic Keyboard, the new keyboard from Apple, is so thin and light that it actually is perfect to carry with you as an iPad keyboard. And people think that because the iPad supports the smart keyboard, they don't think about Bluetooth. And because these things come out with and are promoted as Mac keyboards, people don't think of them as iPad keyboards.
Any Bluetooth keyboard will work.
Any Bluetooth keyboard will work with an iPad, including the Apple Magic
And if you
keyboard.
buy one, get one with function keys.
Yeah, exactly right. And the Logitech one is great. The Logitech one's got backlighting, and it supports 3 different devices, so you can use it on your Mac, and then you can press one of those F keys, and then it suddenly works with your iPad.
I just got a new keyboard for my Mac with big clicky keys, and one of the reasons I chose it
I got one of those too.
Is because it has a knob for volume on it. And
wow.
I didn't think I would use that, but I use it all the time. What is it? The DOS or something like that?
DOS keyboard.
DOS keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has a USB 3 hub on it. I mean, it's just, it's a lot of them. It's $180 keyboard.
Yeah.
But man, and boy, you can tell when I'm in my office writing because there's click, 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 click.
Yeah, I just got the Leopold FC660, which is it's a 10 keyless, so it's a really small one, but it's super clicky. And boy, it sounds great.
Not on
it's
a
like
podcast,
the sound
but every
is,
other
oh yeah.
time.
Well, I actually use the Logitech as my podcasting keyboard because you got to have one that.
Got to have one mushy, quiet keyboard.